Reds, as we welcome you to Busch Stadium. It's the second of a three-game weekend series between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. Last night in the series opener, John Lackey in his ninth start as a Cardinal, outstanding. Allowed only one run in 7 2/3 innings. Helped out by back-to-back home runs in the first. Cardinals win it 2-1. And a good evening, everybody. We welcome you to Major League Baseball on Fox Sports 1. Kenny Albert along with CJ Nitkowski. The magic number for the Cardinals to clinch a spot in the postseason is 2. And tonight, they send Michael Wacha to the mound, his third start since coming off the DL.
Absolutely, Kenny. And really for the St. Louis Cardinals playing a lot better. They have Yadier Molina back right now. You talked about the great start from Lackey. Also, Adam Wainwright has been throwing significantly better since that dead arm. But now Michael Wacha's turn. For Mike Matheny, really would like to have Michael Wacha from a year ago, that postseason hero.
And on the other side for the Cincinnati Reds, it has been a very disappointing second half to this 2014 season. But one bright spot has been the play of their rookie center fielder, Billy Hamilton.
Billy Hamilton has done an outstanding job. We knew about the speed, but the questions were, could he hit at the major league level? He got off to a really slow start, but has played very well since, made the adjustments that you like to see from a young player, and now he is in that Rookie of the Year conversation with Jacob deGrom.
Billy Hamilton will lead off for the Reds tonight, followed by the third baseman, Christopher Negron. All-star first baseman Todd Frazier will bat third. Devin Mesoraco in the cleanup spot. Then second baseman Brandon Phillips. Right fielder Jay Bruce hits sixth. Bottom of the order, the ex-Cardinal left fielder Ryan Ludwig. Shortstop Zach Cozart. And pitcher Mike Leake.
And now we see Michael Wacha's numbers here up, Kenny. 97 1/3 innings, just the 17 starts because he missed a little bit of time. He had a shoulder injury. He came back maybe a little too quickly. He only had the one rehab start. They brought him back because they needed him, but it wasn't going particularly well, and so they skipped his last one. And they gave him a little bit of time off. And hopefully, again, like we said for Mike Matheny, going to see Michael Wacha being sharp again. He was so good for them in the postseason, just such a hero. And so they're going to need him now as they go down the stretch, try to finish off this division. You talked about the magic number, but also important to have Michael Wacha and a strong starting rotation to try to get deep into the postseason.
Wacha, 4 wins in the 2013 postseason. He was the NLCS Most Valuable Player. For the Cardinals defensively, Molina starts at first base for the first time this season. Wag at second, Peralta at short, Descalso at third, and the outfield from left to right, Holiday, Jay, and Taveras, with Cruz behind the plate. A couple of Cardinals under the weather, Matt Carpenter and Matt Adams.
Well, I couldn't get out of that clubhouse fast enough after talking to Mike Matheny, and he talked about some guys and the flu blood going around and maybe a couple more having it. So that's certainly something that the St. Louis Cardinals don't need right now.
4th career start at first base for Yadier Molina. CJ, our Ford keys to the game.
Well, for the Cincinnati Reds to have a chance here, they need Mike Leake to go late into the game. For the Cardinals, again, the story tonight is going to be about Michael Wacha, how strong he is, where the changeup and the curveball are, the command on the fastball. If he's good, Mike Matheny talked about getting 75 pitches in a complete game. Probably not going to happen.
Away we go in St. Louis. Strike one to Billy Hamilton. Wacha perfect at home this season, 5-0, as Hamilton bunts it foul, falls behind 0-2.
And that's something that we talked about with Brian Price before the game, with Billy Hamilton trying to get bunting for a hit into his game. He spent a lot of time with Billy Hatcher this year, still working on it. When you talk about that world-class sprinter speed that he has, boy, if he could bunt for a hit, that'd be a big game changer.
The 0-2 from Wacha, fouled off, back behind third. Hamilton batting .256. 56 stolen bases, most by a major league rookie since Ichiro, who stole 56 with the Mariners back in 2001. Descalso, one away. So Michael Wacha able to keep Billy Hamilton off the base paths here in the top of the first inning. We mentioned Wacha has not lost at home, including the postseason last year. A career record of 9-1 here at Busch Stadium.
And the ERA is what really sticks out. I don't get too worried about the wins and losses. We know that those are out of the control of the starting pitcher, but that ERA being around 1.7 points higher, that's a legitimate concern. Of course, we're not going to see a difference as he's pitching at home tonight.
Here's third baseman Christopher Negron. takes high, ball one. Negron batting .238 in 43 games for the Reds, who as a team have hit just .221 since the All-Star break.
Well, it's been a real struggle for this team really to score runs altogether. They're not hitting. They're not getting clutch hitting. When they do get guys on base, it's been a struggle. You cannot win in this game without scoring runs.
The Reds at the All-Star break were 51-44, just a game and a half back in the division. But since then, lasted all of baseball in batting average, runs per game, hits, on base percentage, just about every key offensive category.
And it's discouraging because this was a team that absolutely could have competed for a division title. When you look at this roster, when they were healthy, when they had everybody, when they got Matt Latos back a couple of months ago, it looks like they were ready to make a run. And that just hasn't happened. Too many injuries. The Joey Votto one was huge, as well as Brandon Phillips.
Votto missing his 92nd game. Phillips missed 41. Jay Bruce missed nearly a month earlier this season. Brian Price in his first year as Reds manager. Payoff pitch to Negron. Long run for the right fielder Tavares, and it bounces into the bullpen. So Negron on at second.
An impressive at bat right there for Negron, a guy who's getting an opportunity to play now in September. Here the Reds are out of it, so sometimes guys will get more of a chance, but it's a 3-2 fastball. Instead of trying to do too much, instead of trying to pull this ball, he takes what Michael Wacha gives him, which is a fastball away, and he drives it away with some power to right center field.
So a runner in scoring position for the All-Star Todd Frazier, playing first base tonight. He leads all National League third basemen in home runs, and he drives this one foul down the left field line, 0-1.
And Frazier, for me, earlier this year was an MVP candidate. Now he has since slowed down a little bit, like most of the Cincinnati Reds have, but this is a very encouraging sign. You see the 26 home runs, 75 RBIs, as Todd Frazier kind of establishes himself as a very good third baseman in this league.
Frazier out of Rutgers University, finalist at the Home Run Derby.
And really has taken on also kind of a leadership role on this team, which has been nice, something that they've kind of lacked. I think as you start to produce and you get a little older and feel comfortable, feel confident taking on that role as well.
Frazier just 1 for 11 lifetime against Michael Wacha. Negron takes his leadoff second with one out. Top of the first inning in St. Louis. A 1-2 from Wacha. Ball two, says the first base umpire Clint Fagan.
And that was a changeup there from Wacha. Maybe not his best. That was the pitch that really separated him last year. First time around the league, and really didn't even go all the way around the league. It was only about a half a year for him last year. Guys could not lay off of that pitch, and that one didn't look as sharp. And Frazier had no problem letting that one go.
We spoke to Cardinals manager Mike Matheny earlier. He referred to Wacha's changeup as freakish.
It is. It's a good one, and it's funny because he was also talking about how it's such a difficult pitch to really sell young pitchers on. Everybody wants to throw hard. Everybody wants to have the big breaking ball. But when you can have that really good changeup like Michael Wacha does, it is devastating on hitters.
Right center, Jay and Tavares. And it's the center fielder Jay who makes the catch. Negron tags. Over to third is Negron, now 2 away.
And not certainly what Todd Frazier wanted to do, and that's actually been an area that he has struggled this year. Just 239 coming into tonight's game with runners in scoring position, and that's been an issue. That was a good swing. He got the better part of the bat on the ball, but he was unable to drive in the gap like Negron did in the at-bat before.
So with Negron at third, a visit to the mound from catcher Cruz as Devin Mesoraco steps in. Just 11 days ago, Mesoraco took Michael Wacha deep.
Mesoraco having a really nice year offensively, kind of exploding on the scene. He's been one of the bright spots of the Cincinnati Reds offense in 2014.
First pitch, left center. Into the glove of Matt Holliday. So Negron stranded on third. Following his double. Middle of the first in St. Louis. Fox Sports 1, Kenny Albert, CJ Nitkowski. Cardinals have won 3 straight, 6 of 7 on this homestand. John Jay leads off, followed by Colton Wong. Matt Holliday bats third. Johnny Peralta in the cleanup spot. Then Oscar Taveras, Yadier Molina. Bottom of the order, Daniel Descalso, Tony Cruz, and Michael Wacha as the Cardinals get set to face the 26-year-old right-hander Mike Leake.
Mike Leake has been very good for this team, very reliable, which has not been the case for some other guys in this starting rotation. A good athlete, good competitor with good stuff. Not great, but good stuff, but never intimidated by any opponent.
32nd start for Leake, record of 11-12, facing John Jay, who was 0 for 3 in last night's game and made a couple of fine defensive plays.
Great defensive plays in a close game, big situations. John Jay has had an outstanding season, a guy kind of forgotten about this year coming into the season.
Jay called out on strikes. 1 away. Defensively behind Leake. Around the infield for the Reds. Frazier, Phillips, Cozart, Negron. In the outfield from left to right, Ludwig, Hamilton, and Bruce. The battery of Leake and Mesoraco.
Billy Hamilton is really the guy who sticks out. You got to remember, this guy was a former infielder who gets converted to the outfield. He's been fantastic out there patrolling center.
Colton Wong, first pitch up the middle, base hit center field. So a 1-out single for Wong as Matt Holliday steps to the plate.
I think Colton Wong saw John Jay go down on 3 pitches and realized he didn't want to get in a hole, and he saw a pitch that he liked. You're going to get a lot of fastballs and cutters from Mike Leake. About 70% of what he throws is either a fastball or a cutter. So if you see one in the zone that you like, jump on it early, because he does know how to put guys away.
Wong leads the Cardinals with 20 steals. So here's Holliday. 3 first-inning home runs in the last 7 games, including one last night.
Matt Holliday has really heated up. It was a slow first half for him. That was one of the reasons that the St. Louis Cardinals were struggling. He wasn't hitting the long ball like he usually does. You can count on him. Pencil him in for 25 a year. He's actually getting pretty close now. He's got 19 on the season. All of a sudden, he's had a really, really nice comeback in the second half.
Randall Grichuk and Holiday went back-to-back in the first inning last night, accounting for the only runs the Cardinals would need in their 2-1 victory.
That home run that he hit last night looked like it should have been a double off the bat. He hit it so hard, but it was a line drive. Didn't think it was going to be high enough. But sure enough, Matt Holliday hits the ball as hard, if not harder, than anybody in Major League Baseball. I think Giancarlo Stanton gets into that conversation as well, but I think people forget how strong this guy is.
7th in the National League, 87 runs batted in, the 1-1. Fouled off to the left side, now 1-2 on Holiday. His numbers last season.
It's a good year for him at 294, and like I said, it's amazing. He got off to that slow start this year, but sure enough, here we are, end of the year, and his numbers lining up about where he usually is.
He also leads all of baseball in game-winning RBIs with 23. Juan takes his lead off first. A 1-2 from Leake. And the Reds, the best defensive team in Major League Baseball, turn 2, 4-6-3 double play. College football on Fox continues tonight with a West Coast showdown. San Diego State and Oregon State. Coverage starts at 10:30 Eastern. Only on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
That should be a great matchup. Thinking about the Pac-12 this year and how many good quarterbacks in that conference. We got a good one going there for sure on Fox Sports 1.
How about the Beavers? Sean Mannion just 186 yards shy of the school's all-time passing record. Don't miss it tonight on Fox. Brandon Phillips leading off for the Reds. They're in the top of the second inning against Michael Wacha. Phillips, lifetime against Wacha, CJ, 0 for 12.
Wow. That's pretty unbelievable. Again, you talk about Michael Wacha being so young in his career and how he's been able to dominate some really good hitters. But it has been that changeup that's been so devastating. Phillips does not like that call at all, and I don't disagree with him. He certainly, at first glance, did not look like he swung at that curveball that was away, and he's laughing it off, but I don't think he really means that. I don't think he really thinks it's funny.
Now the 0-2 from Wacha.
That's a good sign right there. That's 96 miles an hour with some life, and 0-2 count. Wacha trying to climb the ladder and going for the swing and miss. Those are the little things you'll look for. How good is his command? How good is the life on his pitches? That right there was a good sign.
Now Phillips steps out. He'll be followed by Bruce and Ludwig here at the top of the second inning. Phillips gets the call that time.
Well, we'll call it even, I guess, Kenny, because that was a good fastball. That's a tough one to get called in an 0-2 count. I know it should be called the same all the time, but what you like there is that Cruz does not move his glove, and when that happens, you're usually going to get the call.
The 1-2. And a base hit into left field. So the Reds have the leadoff man on here in the second inning. First career base hit for Brandon Phillips against Wacha. He had been 0 for 12.
Well, now he's got a good reason to smile after that. I mean, it's been a rough go, but nobody likes going 0 for 12 against the young guy. But look at Brandon Phillips. He's already spread out, and he does the toe tap back one, and just no stride there at all in that 2-strike count. We don't see a lot of that. This conversation we've been having a lot. Most guys in a 2-strike count still taking big swings, but Brandon Phillips not understanding the count, adjusting his swing to it.
So with Phillips out at first, here's Jay Bruce. It's been a rough year for Jay. We mentioned missed close to a month with the left knee injury earlier this season, batting just .214. But Brian Price emphasized to us prior to the game, Jay's in the prime of his career. He will bounce back. Two-time All-Star. Hit at least 30 home runs each of the last 3 years.
I think Brian Price feels really good about Jay Bruce's track record, and that's important. He has had the offseason. It hasn't been a good one for him. You talked about the knee, but then also some extra pressure there for him to carry the load when Phillips is out, when Joey Votto was out. It just hasn't worked out for him in 2014. And another point that Brian Price made that I thought was kind of interesting, he was talking about Jay Bruce making some adjustments and trying to do it the big league level, which is never fun when you're sitting here trying to adjust in the middle of a bad season. If it doesn't go well in the beginning, you start to get really frustrated. He's been caught in between, but he feels very good about Jay Bruce going into next season.
Talked about Phillips' lifetime against Wacha. Bruce is 0 for 11.
Oh my.
Now the 1-2 from behind the catcher, Cruz, and Wacha misses away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that's really good velocity for Michael Wacha. A little bit harder actually than I think we're used to seeing. I mean, his fastball has kind of averaged around 93 miles an hour this year, but we've seen some 96s, 95s. Maybe that extra time off has gotten him feeling a little bit stronger.
2-2. Left center. Long run for Jay. And he makes the catch on the warning track for the first out as Phillips tags and moves to second. Time for a game break. What's going on with the Astros and the Mariners? We check in with Ryan Field. Ryan. All right, thanks very much, Ryan.
Ryan isn't kidding. What a year it has been for Chris Carter. 37th home run. That's easily a career high. And we know him as a guy that strikes out a lot. But for the Houston Astros, not a lot going right. Chris Carter's season, certainly Jose Altuve, 2 bright spots.
Trailing only Nelson Cruz in the American League home run race. Cruz of the Orioles with 39. Here's Ryan Ludwig, the ex-Cardinal. Ludwig 0 for 4 in last night's game. Reds with a runner in scoring position, CJ, for the second straight inning, but we talked about their struggles offensively, in particular since the All-Star break, and as of late, they've scored only 2 runs the last 4 games. Ludwig sends this one into right. Tavares makes the catch for out number 2. 12 runs the last 8. Now 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position today.
Well, it's going to be very deflating for a pitching staff because that can put a little bit of extra pressure on you when your team is not scoring runs. But how about Tavares right here? Does a nice job. Brandon Phillips is not going anywhere, but he lines himself up very well, exactly like you're supposed to, behind the baseball. And he comes up and he hits his cutoff man in Johnny Peralta. And that was a bullet that he threw. Free chance to show off the arm right there.
So a two-way, Zach Cozart. Cozart having an outstanding season defensively. Brian Price just raves about the work that Cozart has done on the field this year.
He's one of the best defensively, without a doubt, at the shortstop position. You don't hear about him because he carries a light stick, but put him right up there with Andrelton Simmons this year, having a great year out in the field.
Cozart fouls this one off down the left field line.
And that's a very interesting pitch selection for me. It's a 1-0 count. Like we talked about, Cozart, not a strong hitter, but he throws a curveball, a pitch that he is working on. He was pretty much fastball changeup last year in trying to mix in that curveball, and he kind of hung it in the middle. I love that pitch selection because you're doing it to a hitter that you should be able to dominate with your fastball. Michael Wacha trying to work on that. Mike Matheny feels like it's a pitch that he needs to take that next level.
Two balls, one strike, 2 outs, top of the second inning. Brandon Phillips takes his lead off second. Bounced up the middle, Peralta. And that will do it for the Reds in the second. No score in St. Louis.
Consistently as the St. Louis Cardinals do it, as they see a red, as you know, after the game, before the game. Of course, they're playing the Reds, so that contributes to it as well. But this has always been a great place to come. Loved playing here as a visitor, and tremendous fan base.
Johnny Peralta leading off for the Cardinals. A diving attempt by Cozart. Leadoff single for Peralta here in the bottom of the second.
And you see Peralta jumping on the first pitch just like Colton Wandig. And we just talked about Kozar and his defense, and this is a great effort right here. A lot of guys not even getting close to this ball. Just missed it. You see how upset he gets because he knows that's the part of his game that he would love to have made that play and thrown his counterpart Peralta out at first base, but that would have been a tough one.
So Peralta on at first. Here's Oscar Taveras. Cardinals right fielder batting .247. 2 for 6 against Mike Leake. In case you joined us late, 2 St. Louis regulars, Matt Carpenter and Matt Adams, under the weather tonight, down to the starting lineup. Bounce to the second baseman Phillips, and for the second time in 2 innings, it was Phillips who barehanded the ball over to second. The Reds turn 2.
What confidence by Brandon Phillips right here, Kenny. I can't believe that he did this. He knew the only way he was turning this was by being quick. Not only did he barehand it, but he barehanded it as a backhand. Otherwise, for sure, Taveras is going to be safe. But if he drops that ball, both guys could potentially be safe. He does it so smooth with such confidence. Look at Brandon Phillips trying to be the one tonight on Fox Sports Live. That was an incredible play right there.
Tremendous play by Phillips. Mike Leake has thrown only 12 pitches, thanks in large part to a pair of double plays. He's recorded 5 outs. The Cardinals have had 2 base hits.
It's unbelievable. He works really quickly, too, which I like about Mike Leake. We talked about what a great competitor he is, but he gets right back on the mound. Very nice tempo.
Molina with a shot down the right field line into the corner. Yadier Molina in at second with a stand-up double. 3rd hit of the game for St. Louis.
How much did the St. Louis Cardinals miss this guy? Not just behind the plate and not just what he does with the pitching staff. He is almost a manager within the game, but also that bat. Last year he had a huge season offensively, but here's a cutter right here. It doesn't cut very much and just kind of stays there. Look at it, keeping the head down, staying through that ball. We talked about guys not pulling off. Tremendous swing in that bat right there for Yadier Molina.
He's the Cardinals' first baseman tonight. 20th double of the season for Molina. So now Daniel Descalso. Molina takes his lead off second with 2 outs. Pitch missing low and inside, ball 1.
And that's a really nice way to disperse your hits. Look at those 31 hits to right field. We've seen his average climb really over the last 4 seasons. That's going to be a reason why you don't see guys with high averages that only pull the ball. If you want to hit for a high average, you're going to have to spray it around the field, and that's what Molina's been doing the last few seasons. 319 last year, a career high for Molina in batting average.
Fisted foul off to the left side. You know, in our conversation with Mike Matheny prior to the game, the subject of base running was brought up, and he was asked who is your best base runner, not necessarily your fastest. And his answer was?
Yadier Molina. Also Pete Cosma he threw in there, but he's more talking about the science of running the bases, not about speed. Billy Hamilton is the fastest man in this building right now with the 40,000 plus fans that we'll see here and all the players on the field. But it's the way you run the bases. He's a very smart base runner.
Now 3-1 on Descalso.
It's about getting jumps, reading the pitcher, knowing where your outfielders are in certain situations. So when a ball is hit, you know whether or not pretty quickly whether or not it's going to drop. Taking the extra base, all those little things Molina does very well.
(3-1) from Leake. Ball 4. First walk issued by Leake tonight. Cardinals now have runners on first and second with 2 outs for the catcher, Tony Cruz. As Cruz steps in, nonstop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2014 postseason beginning September 30th. Cardinals' magic number is 2 as far as clinching a spot in the postseason. Magic number to clinch the NL Central is 7. First and second, 2 away for Cruz, who provided the walk-off heroics on Thursday night against Milwaukee with a 13th inning game-winning single.
It's the first pitch slider that we saw from Mike Leake, and sometimes he will pitch backwards, very similar to kind of Bronson Arroyo, who we spent a lot of time with here in Cincinnati when Bronson was a member of the Reds. Kind of work that slider first and then maybe come back with a fastball, as we see right there.
Cardinals have scored the highest percentage of runs with 2 outs in all of baseball this season. Nearly 43% of their runs have come with 2 away.
I think when you talk about 2-out runs being scored, that comes from a lineup that knows how to grind out at bats. A lineup that doesn't try to do too much. Keeping it short, we talked about it earlier with Brandon Phillips not taking too big of a swing. I know he plays for the Reds, but just saying an example of that kind of at-bat where you don't try to do too much with guys on base. And this team has been pretty good. 254 with runners in scoring position. Matt Holliday, we talked about him earlier, 360 with runners in scoring position this year.
One, 2 from Leake. Nice block by Mesoraco. Now 2-2. Two on, 2 out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cruz 4 for 7 lifetime against Leake. Count is now full.
Mike Leake, these last 2 at-bats, has started to look a little bit uncomfortable. This is a guy with very good command. He walks just 2 batters per 9 innings. He's already walked Daniel Descalso this inning and now falling behind 3-2 to Tony Cruz.
Playoff pitch, runners go. Left field, Ludwig back. Looks up, it's gone! Three-run home run off the bat of Tony Cruz. 3-0 Cardinals.
Well, this was pretty incredible for me, Kenny. A 3-2 cutter. We talked about a guy who throws a lot of fastballs and cutters. Tony Cruz was not fooled. Just a 205 hitter. That is his first home run of the season. He had a big hit the other night as well. And what a nice moment. A guy who probably was not going to start if it wasn't for the fact that Mike Adams couldn't play because he's been sick. That pushed Yadier Molina to first, and Tony Cruz gets to start behind the plate. And right now he's been all the offense for the Cardinals. Excuse me, Matt Adams. I think I said Mike Adams. Matt Adams.
3rd career home run for Cruz. As you mentioned, his first this season.
Yeah, and there wasn't actually, it looked like a curveball. It just didn't do as much. It sat there in the middle of the plate. Very surprising. A pitch that Mike Leake does not throw that often, just 11% of the time. Got a full count on a 205 hitter when he throws a curveball. Very surprising.
So the Reds, a team that has had all kinds of problems scoring runs since the All-Star break, fall behind by 3 early. Waka down on strikes. Tony Cruz, 3-run shot, first of the season. 3-0 St. Louis. Play score, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit MLB.com today. Cardinals hero Tony Cruz, third career home run. Two have come against the Reds. He took Sam LeCure deep in Cincinnati last August.
What a great feeling it has to be for Tony Cruz, the first one of the year. You know, when Yadier Molina's on your team, not going to get very much opportunity to play. When Molina went down, of course, it was A.J. Przinsky who they required. So a nice moment for him, thinking about heading to the postseason and where he may fit on this roster as well.
He's crouching just a couple of feet away from the man he took deep moments ago.
It's got to be awkward.
Mike Leake, who is one of the best hitting pitchers.
That's right.
In all of baseball. Leake's gone deep twice this year, but he's called out on strikes. First strikeout for Michael Wacha.
Well, he can definitely hit, and he had done it at Arizona State when he was there, but very nice execution by Michael Wacha. I know we say, well, he's only going up against a pitcher, but it's a beautiful 0-2 pitch. Borderline ball for me, but that's what you want. You're thinking black or just off. Good command, good location with his fastball tonight so far from Michael Wacha.
One away, here's Billy Hamilton. Grounded out to the first baseman, Molina. Yes, the first baseman, Molina. His first time up. Fourth career start at first for Yadier. His first this season.
The thing that would be really tough for him, not being over there very often, is if Billy Hamilton decided to drag bunt that in-between play between him and Michael Wacha. Just not enough experience. I'm surprised Hamilton hasn't tried to take advantage of it. The first bunt looked like he was trying to push it to third. The drag bunt, if he can get Molina to come off the bag, almost a guaranteed hit.
Hamilton swinging away. Grounds out to the second baseman, Wong, for out number 2.
So far, so good for Michael Wacha, looking very smooth. And going back to last inning, thinking about the 2-out walk to Daniel Descalzo that kept the inning going. For Michael Wacha, has to be thinking the same thing. 2 outs, nobody on. Shut this inning down right now. Don't let them get to the middle of the lineup, especially after your team just put 3 runs on the board.
Christopher Negron doubled his first time up back in the first inning. Cardinals out to a 3-0 lead. Tony Cruz with a 3-run shot off Mike Leake in the bottom of the second, his first home run of the season. Center field, John Jay. An 8-pitch third for Michael Wacha, who retires the Reds in order on a beautiful Saturday evening in St. Louis. Back in St. Louis, John Jay leads off for the Cardinals here in the third. St. Louis with a 3-0 lead. Jay called out on strikes his first time up. And Jay is hit, CJ, for the 20th time this season. Last week, he was hit 3 times in the series against the Reds.
Well, obviously no intent at all. This is a cutter that comes in, and really a minor effort to get out of the way for John Jay, but for a guy who's on top of the plate just a little bit, at least leaning out as that cutter was coming in, really no chance for him to get out of the way. But like I said, there's no intent there at all.
Leads the National League, and he is the first Cardinal to get hit with a pitch 20 times in one season since Fernando Vina back in 2001.
It's a lot of black and blues, but I think John Jay is okay with it. We talked about it earlier. He is having a great season. A guy who was kind of forgotten about when this season started. The trade for Peter Porges and who was going to play center field. Well, John Jay did a really nice job of reestablishing himself as the man for the job.
Colton Wong singled his first time up. Takes strike 2.
I think for Mike Matheny, there's been that balance there, trying to work that outfield between Taveras and when Alan Craig was still here, when he was struggling in right field. Peter Borges has played right and done well. Looking for that perfect combination that sparks this offense.
Wong with a drive, deep right field. No doubt about it. His 12th of the season, 5-0 Cardinals.
Well, this was just a mistake fastball right over the plate on an 0-2 pitch, and Colton Wong was all over it. You knew it as soon as he swung, and as soon as he made contact, you knew that ball was going to be gone. Remember, this guy got sent down earlier this year and has done a tremendous job of bouncing back and playing a great second base and swinging the bat as well.
5th hit of the game for the Cardinals. 3 have gone for extra bases, including 2 home runs.
Well, you see this pitch right here just up over the plate. Colton Wong knew it. We knew it. Spit as you're going around as soon as you make that swing, as soon as you finish that swing, but it's a line drive crushed home run for Colton Wong.
So the Cardinals with 2 first-inning home runs last night, back-to-back. Grichuk and Holiday. They've gone deep twice in the first 3 innings here tonight.
I don't know if you heard this or not, but this team is 15th in the National League in home runs. But the last couple of nights, you would never know it.
What is it about the state of Missouri? Only the Royals in all of baseball have hit fewer home runs than the Cardinals.
Is there dead air here? I'm not sure what the issue is, but you're absolutely right. It's been a big issue for the Royals, last in Major League Baseball in home runs, and it's been a big issue for them this season. I mean, they have competed very well with what they have offensively, but they have really missed the long ball. But it's funny, we're looking at 2 teams right here, 29th and 30th in Major League Baseball in home runs hit, both very likely to go to the postseason this year.
And the Cardinals, in their last series against Milwaukee, they won 2 out of 3. They had only 1 extra base hit the entire series, as Holiday rounds out to Cozart. 1 extra base hit in 3 games against Milwaukee. They've gone deep 4 times in 2 games against Cincinnati.
Well, look at this swing here from Colton Wong. Look at the high leg kick, but good balance. You can have a high leg kick as long as you don't drift forward too early and your hands don't go too far back. That's exactly what Colton Wong did, and he was right on time for that pitch over the middle of the plate.
With 1 away, here's Johnny Peralta. Singled his first time up.
A lot of people wondering about the signing of Johnny Peralta in the offseason. They gave him 4 years, $53 million. The Cardinals needed a shortstop. Now, they had plenty of young pitching to trade. I think maybe they overpaid just a little tiny bit, but what that allowed them to do was keep all of those young, good prospects that they had. They didn't have to give up anybody to fill a need. And so what you do sometimes is you pay a little bit extra to do that.
Peralta went around, 2 away. Now, what has Peralta done this season? He set a new franchise record for home runs by a Cardinals shortstop. Now 2 outs. Bottom of the 3rd inning from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Second of a 3-game weekend series. Kenny Albert along with C.J. Nitkowski. St. Louis Cardinals with a pair of home runs, accounting for all 5 of their runs. Tony Cruz, a 3-run shot in the second. And then here in the 3rd, Colton Wong took Mike Leake deep. 2-run homer. So the Cardinals now lead 5-0. Their magic number is 2 to clinch a spot in the postseason. Magic number to win the National League Central is 7. All 7 runs in this series for the Cardinals have come thanks to the long ball.
Now for Mike Leake with his 22 home runs allowed, that's going to tie him for 9th in the National League. Now he plays in a tough ballpark in Cincinnati, but he has been prone to the long ball just a little bit this season.
A 1-2 to Taveras, and he strikes out to end the inning. But the Cardinals add to their lead on an 0-2 pitch from Leake. Number 12 this season off the bat of Colton Wong. 5-0 Cardinals through 3. Travis d'Arnaud, the Mets catcher, has hit more home runs among National League rookies than Colton Wong. And how about the 3 Chicago Cubs on the list?
Well, the Cubs have to be getting a little bit excited about what they see from their young players. Some great bat speed, some great power, but with that, also a ton of strikeouts. Javier Baez, if he plays a full season, would strike out about 270 times right now. That would smash the record of 223 by Mark Reynolds. So good news for the Cubs, but with that, the caveat of watch those strikeouts are going to be a little high.
Todd Frazier leading off for the Reds. Fly to center his first time up.
Frazier, for me, a guy who was going to be in line for an extension this offseason. He is arbitration eligible for the first time. Having a big year, I think the Reds would be wise to lock him up, buy up some free agent years before it gets too late.
Tavares unable to get to it. It drops in for a base hit. Leadoff single for Frazier here in the top of the fourth.
The thing about Michael Wacha that we're keeping an eye on is the curveball, which he is throwing significantly more. Now, this one was earlier in the at-bat. You see him right there. Look at the hands right on top. The way that ball comes out, it does not get to the side of the ball at all, and that's why you see that really good 12-6 and the really good finish. Now, on that base hit, it was also a curveball. Not his best, but the good news is, even though it was a base hit, it wasn't hard contact. It wasn't solid contact. So I think the improvement in the curveball has been very good so far from Michael Wacha.
Third hit of the game for Cincinnati. Devin Mesoraco fly to left his first time up. And when you talk about the positives this season for the Reds, of course, there's Hamilton and then Frazier, who we just saw, and Mesoraco, who was selected by Mike Matheny to the National League All-Star team back in July.
Absolutely, and Brian Price really couldn't stop talking about this guy and how much he has matured over the course of this last season. Doing a really nice job, a team guy, and you love hearing that from your manager, knowing that you have a guy that can count on the team. He said he's done a really nice job of learning how to run a pitching staff, which of course is very important. Nobody does it better than the guy playing first base right now for the St. Louis Cardinals, but then you get those at-bats too and those home runs. 23, this is a guy who started out batting 7th in this lineup, but now he is a legitimate 3 or 4 hole hitter for this team, one that lacks offense. Again, getting excited about next year when they're fully healthy with Joey Votto back to lineup. Take much better shape, be much more productive. .94 miles an hour on that ball, that cut from Michael Wacha. His arm definitely feeling very strong tonight. The extra days off, we're seeing the positive effects of that.
His last start 11 days ago in Cincinnati. Third start for Wacha off the disabled list. He missed over 2 months. He went 3 innings in Milwaukee, then 4 innings in Cincinnati back on September 9th. Working his way back into this Cardinals rotation. 3-1 as Rocco pops it up into the stands. Full count. Time now for Pepsi's most thrilling historical moments of the game. Pepsi, live for now. Devin Mesoraco, 3 grand slams this season. Late May in Arizona, late June at Wrigley, and then August 10th against the Marlins. Mesoraco has tied the Cincinnati Reds franchise record with the 3 grand slams this season.
Well, it's funny, you get guys that'll go long into their careers before they get one.
He shoots this one into right center with only 1 man on base. And it's the center fielder, Jay, who makes the catch, crossing in front of Tavares for out number 1.
A very nice job by Michael Wacha. Mesoraco just got under that pitch, just missing the barrel of the bat. Tavares, he didn't see that ball. He didn't know where it was. Throwing his hands up, and we are kind of just getting past, I guess, dusk right now, so maybe a tough sky that Tavares is not used to seeing, but he completely lost that ball, but luckily John Jay did not.
So with 1 away, here's Brandon Phillips. CJ, when you talk about the names on that list, Mesoraco tying the franchise record with 3 grand slams, some very impressive names. Your former manager, Frank Robinson, back in 1962. Lee May, Ray Knight, Eric Davis, and Chris Sabo.
Those are some big names. Very exciting for Devin, when you consider the year that he's having, but also to be thrown in with those guys. Put icing on the cake for him.
The 6 Reds who have hit 3 grand slams in 1 season. 0-2 on Phillips, who singled back in the 2nd inning. Wacha and the Cardinals out to a 5-0 lead. The 0-2 Deflects away from Cruz. And at second is Frazier.
I don't think very much that Cruz could do on this pitch. It looked like he was squared up, and this is a curveball that's down in the dirt. Tough one to block. As you see him, he does a good job of getting squared up. He just couldn't get all the way to the left in time. He's anticipating that ball being away. So that's going to be a wild pitch on Michael Wacha.
Told you about the Reds' struggles. They've fallen behind by 5. Coming into this game, only 4 runs in their last 5 games combined. In a 5-run hole tonight, thanks to a pair of Cardinals home runs. Tony Cruz, a 3-run shot of the second, and then Colton Wong, a 2-run homer in the third.
That was another curveball in the dirt for Michael Wacha. He's really forcing the issue. You can tell he's trying to develop that pitch. The one thing Mike Matheny said was he has to be a little bit careful with it because sometimes he gets overexposed with it as he's been working on it this season.
Left center. Frazier around third. He scores easily. 49th run batted in of the season for Brandon Phillips. The Reds are on the board. It's now 5-1 Cardinals.
And this was just a fastball that sat middle. It didn't hit it particularly hard. A soft line drive from Brandon Phillips, but 2 really good at-bats for him. And you see Todd Frazier getting a nice read on this ball with 1 out. He knew that ball was going to be down. No chance. He does a really good job. It's a good read. We talk about base running. It's about reads. He was trying to go in. Michael Wacha was with that fastball. Cut back over the middle plate just a little bit. Enough for Brandon Phillips to get the barrel on it.
Jay Bruce flies to center his first time up. Takes a called strike, 0-1. Brandon Phillips, who came into this game 0 for 12 against Michael Wacha, a couple of base hits and a run batted in. Bruce now 0 for 12 against Wacha. Falls behind, 0-2.
And that doesn't surprise me as much because we've talked about Michael Wacha having that plus changeup, and that thing becomes very, very effective against lefties. He does a great job against righties as well, but lefties this year hitting just 222 off of him, 234 for right-handers.
The 0-2, low and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That was that really good changeup, and that's good location 0-2 as you see that thing fade away at 86 miles an hour. That's the pitch that can be so difficult for lefties to pick up and lay off.
Holiday coming on. And the left fielder makes the catch. Retire Bruce for out number 2. Time for a game break to Los Angeles. Ryan Field. All right, thanks very much, Ryan. Action, CJ, in the Cardinals pen.
Yeah, and it looks like Michael Wacha probably getting pretty close to his pitch count. You have to think, he was maybe going to get 70, but Marco Gonzalez probably the guy that's going to follow him. He did last time as well. But you see Jason Mott as well getting some work in.
Ryan Ludwig at the plate. As you mentioned earlier, we asked Mike Matheny what he hoped for from Wacha, and his response, a 75-pitch complete game. Working his way back from the stress reaction in his right shoulder. Pitched 3 innings in his first start back, 4 innings in Cincinnati 11 days ago. Looking to close out the 4th inning right here.
I think for Michael Wacha, wanting to finish strong. He's thrown the ball pretty well tonight. 5 swings and misses, not a lot for him. I think we saw some curveball inconsistencies so far, but some good changeups here and there. Not a ton of swings and misses, but for the most part, it's been sharp up to this point.
1-2 on Ludwig, who flied to right his first time up. Ludwig had his best season with the Cardinals back in 2008. 37 home runs, drove in 113. Named to the National League All-Star team. Remember his brother Eric, a former Cardinal as well. He was involved in the deal for Mark McGwire back in '97.
Absolutely right. I actually played with Ryan. He and I were teammates back in all the way in 2002. Spent a few months in AAA together with the Rangers.
Moving to his left is Juan. Inning comes to an end. Reds score a run as Phillips drives in Frazier. Middle of the 4th. 5-1 Cardinals. Welcome back. Bottom of the 4th inning. Yadier Molina leading off for the Cardinals against Mike Leake. Molina doubled and came around to score back in the 2nd inning. Molina, Descalso, and Cruz for the Cardinals. Here in the 4th, they lead 5-1.
So many things that Yadier Molina does so well, but how about even in the postseason? .294 career hitter. So important to this team. A couple of World Series rings that he picked up 06, 2011. And just shuts down the running game. It is unbelievable when you get to be a pitcher on this team how he can pretty much take that weight off of your shoulders with that great arm, great release.
Quickly off the bat, it's Leake. Takes it to the bag himself to retire Molina. College football on Fox Sports 1 returns Thursday. It's a huge Pac-12 showdown between undefeated teams. Number 12 UCLA heads to Tempe to take on 15th ranked Arizona State. Coverage begins at 9:30 Eastern Thursday, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Tim Brando will have the call with Joel Klatt and Jenny Taft, and the Cardinals will be out west. They will have an off day in the Phoenix area, and many of them apparently will attend the game on Thursday night.
Not a bad idea, and I will tell you, if you have not heard Joel Klatt call a game, he's one of our analysts, football analysts at Fox Sports 1, maybe one of the best, in my opinion, that we have. Unbelievably solid at what he does. I'm not just saying that because I work for the same company. This guy is really, really good at what he does. And
you could also hear him on Sundays doing some of the game breaks.
That's right.
During NFL action.
He's solid. Guy knows his stuff and great delivery. He was a minor league baseball player.
Yep.
Played in the minor leagues for a little while, and then went back and played college football. Great guy, but great analyst. Like I said, one of the brightest we have at Fox Sports 1.
Does a terrific job. 1-1 to Descalso. Nice play by Negron. Fires across. 2 out.
That was a tough play for Negron as he had to kind of backhand that. And on a short hop, but showing good hands and trying to recover from the shift. You see him go, and I'm sorry, it wasn't a short hop, but he had to backhand as that ball was coming down. If he lets that ball bounce and catches it on the short hop, Descalso is going to be safe. So good read there by Negron.
It's the one area where the Reds have excelled this season is defensively. Fewest errors in all of baseball. Here's Cruz, who hit the 3-run shot his last time up on the first pitch. Grounds out to the shortstop, Cozart. So on 9 pitches, the Cardinals are retired in the 4th. Official sponsor of Game Changers. How about Clayton Kershaw, who won his 20th game for the second time, and he becomes only the second pitcher, CJ, since World War II. Pedro Martinez the first in '99. 20 wins in fewer than 30 starts.
That's unbelievable. The year that this guy has had has been historic. The curveball, the best in baseball for me. Adam Wainwright probably second, but you can go back and forth on 2 of the best curveballs in the game. But he is just locked in right now. Start to start, we just really don't even see him have a bad one. It seems like maybe one every 15 or so, where your average starter is going to be one every 5 or 6. But he's a special pitcher, and we're seeing him put up some historic numbers.
Fans in Ballpark Village locked in as well.
Yeah,
keeping a close eye on the Cardinals and the Reds. And Zach Cozart leads off against Waka, who stays in the game. We'll try and get him through the 5th.
I'm surprised. I thought that was going to be it for Michael Wacha at 65 pitches, but Mike Matheny wants to see a little bit more. He's got to build up that stamina. It's not about getting through the 5th and trying to get the win. They're thinking about what is best for Michael Wacha, getting him ready, hopefully, for the postseason.
Leadoff single for Cozart as it eluded the glove of Molina. Top of the 5th inning from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, with the Cardinals leading the Reds 5-1. Kenny Albert, CJ Nitzkowski coming to you on Fox Sports 1. Another opportunity here for Mike Leake, who was called out on strikes back in the third inning. He has 11 hits this season, 4 career home runs. And among all active pitchers with at least 60 at-bats, he's third in batting average, behind only Madison Bumgarner and Adam Wainwright.
When you see the respect right there with first pitch off speed, this guy can swing it. We talked about him hitting in college. Great athlete. It's a nice asset to have. Pitchers generally obviously not very good hitters, but if you can get a guy who can handle the bat a little bit, it's a difference maker in the National League in close games.
Swings the bat, sends this one down the line and right. Long run for Taveras. Makes the catch, straddling the line. So Leake is retired. He is now 0 for 2. You know, talking about Clayton Kershaw, Waka was matched up head-to-head with Kershaw twice in the NLCS last October, and Waka beat him both times.
And got himself an MVP award in that series. And really, not that he wasn't there already because he was already pitching well in the postseason, but he just exploded onto the national scene last year in the championship series. And even in the World Series, he struggled in his last one. But what he did against the Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw was unbelievable when you think about his age and experience.
Here's Billy Hamilton, 0 for 2. Grounded out twice. Milwaukee at his first postseason start. No hit the Pirates for 7 1/3. Won 4 games during the postseason. Started games 2 and 6 of the World Series.
I remember watching that Game 6 for him, and that's when it seemed like things changed a little bit. He actually started using his breaking ball a lot more in that game, and I felt like he was overthinking a little bit. Now here's that breaking ball that he's been working on. It wasn't looking like that in Game 7 of the World Series, excuse me, Game 6 of the World Series last year, so much improved on the curveball for Waka.
Right field, Taveras. 2 out.
Kenny, you were just talking about it, how good he was. I mean, 5 starts already, 151 opponent average for a guy who had a couple of months in the major leagues, and he goes on to the big stage and he just absolutely dominated. And again, we talk about him maybe getting better as that curveball gets better. I mean, listen, you don't know when opportunities you're going to have and try to repeat that success. But getting a start in the postseason like that or so early in his career, I mean, we could see a guy who could put up some Andy Pettitte numbers long term in the postseason.
McGrone, first pitch. Right field corner. Foul. So Cozart must make his way all the way back from third over to first. And Waka, just 23 years of age. First round pick back in 2012 out of Texas A&M.
What a great mentor he has. What an opportunity. I mean, to sit here and to be on a team right from the beginning of your career, already have really good stuff, but to have Adam Wainwright and Molina on your team, I mean, I don't think you could come into a more perfect situation where there's an opportunity to grow, but also to be competitive on a team that expects to win.
And if Waka can record the final out of this inning without allowing a run, it would be the 9th consecutive game for the Cardinals in which their starter has gone at least 5 innings, allowing either no runs or just 1 run.
And at the end of the day, the pitchers have to make the pitches, and obviously Molina's not catching tonight, but I think a lot of that falls on him as well. Adam Wainwright's been a completely different guy over his last 4 starts. He had a rough August. He talked about wanting August to just be over and be done with. He was going through a dead arm phase, and he has been terrific over his last 4. Just kicking back and watching the youngster tonight. The life of a starting pitcher. It's not a bad one, Kenny.
Now 2-2 on McGrone. And the note I just mentioned, 8 straight for a Cardinals starter, 1 run or fewer, at least 5 innings. Cardinals have tracked it. Has not happened since at least 1914.
Wow.
Now the 2-2. This should be extra bases for McGrone. rolls to the wall. Here comes Cozart. He will score. So I guess I jinxed Waka.
I wasn't going to say it, but I thought it as soon as he hit that ball. The curse of Kenny Albert, that's the way it goes. And listen, you have to credit your hitter there because Negron had a really nice at-bat. If you remember, he fouled that ball off to the right side that was almost fair, could have been for extra bases. He comes back, keeps his hands inside, and does a nice job of delivering on this changeup from Michael Waka. That's not an easy pitch to get to. Good at-bat by Negron, very nice.
His 14th run batted in of the season. That would be all for Waka. He goes 4 2/3. His longest start since coming off the disabled list. Jason Mott coming out of the Cardinals pen. Standing ovation for Michael Waka. Nothing in one on Todd Frazier as we welcome you back to St. Louis. 32-year-old right-hander Jason Mott makes his 27th appearance of the season on in relief of Michael Waka, who went 4 2/3. Negron with an RBI double takes his leadoff second with 2 outs. Jason Mott, the Cardinals 2014 nominee for the prestigious Roberto Clemente Award. Jason and his wife Caitlin do such a terrific job with the Jason Mott Foundation. Off the glove of Cruz, allowing Negron to move to third. One of the most successful ventures for the foundation, the K Cancer t-shirt, which features a Clemente quote printed on the inside.
Well, it's really nice when you got a guy like Jason Mott, and you get a lot of guys now in Major League Baseball. I think we do a great job of that, of encouraging guys to get in the community, use your star power that you have, and bring attention to a good cause. And certainly Jason Mott is deserving of being a nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award this year.
Long run for Taveras. And he makes the catch in foul territory to end the inning. Reds score another run. Middle of the 5th. 5-2 Cardinals. to Cancer, a groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients quickly in order to save lives now. For more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. Well, Jason Mott threw 3 pitches. Retired Todd Frazier, so his evening comes to an end as Mark Ellis pinch hits for Mott. Ellis looking to break an 0-for-12 slump. He'll be followed by Jay and Wong here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, I think that is exactly what Mike Matheny was hoping, was that Jason Mott could finish this inning so that they could turn it over to Marco Gonzalez.
Hamilton out number 1.
Gonzalez, who is a starter, a lot of times you want to be careful about bringing younger pitchers. You prefer to have them, if you can, to have them start the inning as opposed to coming in the middle of an inning. And so Jason Mott did his job. For Michael Wacha, a pretty good night for him. 78 pitches on the night, 68% strikes, but the one concern for me was just the one strikeout, and that was of Mike Leake. So the swings and misses weren't there. The off-speed stuff a little bit inconsistent, but we saw some good fastballs as well tonight.
Here's Jay on the ground to the right side, handled by Phillips. Quickly 2 away. The Cardinals with a couple of home runs early, as was the case last night. Tony Cruz 3-run shot in the second off Mike Leake, his first of the season, 3rd career home run. 1 inning later, it is Colton Wong, number 12.
Well, good for Tony Cruz and Colton Wong, jumping on some mistakes in pitchers' counts. It was a full count.
And this is how the Reds scored their runs. Phillips, RBI single in the 4th, and then Negron, run-scoring double in the 5th.
And since then, Mike Leake has really settled down after giving up with those 5 runs. He's thrown the ball a lot better. We talked about his tempo earlier, but he's really kept a nice one over these last, I guess now we're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 batters retired in a row. I don't know how you guys do that, added up so quick, but 8 in a row for Mike Leake.
Who threw only 8 pitches in the 4th. This will be his 7th pitch in the 5th.
Well, it's nice to see him bounce back, because when you see him give up those runs early, your first thought is he's going to be out of the game pretty quickly, but he's done a very good job of conserving pitches while still getting outs. Just 64 through 5 2/3. Excuse me, 4 2/3.
Wong was the last man to reach base against Leake when he homered back in the 3rd. And Wong reaches again here in the 5th. Second walk issued by Leake tonight. So with a 2-out base runner, here's Matt Holliday. 0 for 2, grounded into a double play in the 1st, grounded to short in the 3rd. Wong with 20 steals to lead the Cardinals. 2 outs, bottom of the 5th inning. 5-2 St. Louis.
Well, you see those numbers for Matt Holliday. 0 for 2 tonight, but you got to think he's playing with fire.
1 for 3. Ball gets away from Bruce. Coming around 3rd is Wong. He scores. It's now 6-2 Cardinals.
Well, right on time. You knew it sooner or later. Matt Holliday was probably going to break through a Mike Leake, and he hammered that baseball. It was a line drive base hit. Jay Bruce really struggled, but you can see how hard, or we're going to see here in a second, how hard this ball was hit and just skipped on Jay Bruce, caught him off guard. And it should be a single and an error. We'll see how they score it. But he certainly hit that ball hard, and they have ruled it a single with an error. Makes sense. Colton Wong does not slow down the entire time. Very nice base running. And a good job for the St. Louis Cardinals getting that run back.
7th error charged to Bruce this season. A single, an error, no run batted in for Holliday. Johnny Peralta at the plate, 1 for 2, called out on strikes his last time up. Yet another 2-out run scored by the Cardinals. We mentioned earlier they lead the league. 43% of their runs this season have come with 2 outs.
Well, certainly the 3 runs in the second inning after the double play, the great double play by Brandon Phillips that he started with his bare hand. They got those 3 with 2 outs, and now this 4th one here.
So 4 of the 6 tonight.
Unbelievable.
Peralta, broken bat right into the glove of Frazier, who says, look what I found. So 5 innings in the books here in St. Louis. Cardinals add to their lead. Holiday, the base hit off the glove of Bruce. Wong scores. It's now 6-2. Tanner, Marco Gonzalez, 3rd pitcher of the evening for the Cardinals. We take you back to his first start, and it came at his home state back on June 25th, went 5 innings through 82 pitches. That's his dad, Frank, who works in the Rockies organization. Gonzalez, originally drafted by Colorado back in 2010, did not sign. And he became the Cardinals' first-round pick, 19th overall in 2013.
And he really ascended through the system very quickly. Had 3 stops in the minor leagues, A-ball, AA, AAA, and now here in the big leagues. His career moving along very nicely for such a young man, and the Cardinals known for how well they develop good pitching.
Terrific career at Gonzaga University. West Coast Conference Co-Player of the Year as a freshman and a junior. Mesoraco 0 for 2. Mesoraco 1 for 3. Into the gap in left center. And it rolls to the wall past Holiday. And at second is Mesoraco.
Well, that was a changeup from Marco Gonzalez, and Mesoraco hit the ball pretty well. And Matt Holliday, not known for his glove out there in left field, and probably should have cut that ball off and made it only a single. You see the changeup here, not too bad. I mean, well located away, just a little bit up. A credit Mesoraco right here with a good swing, staying back and driving this ball in the gap. Matt Holliday just could not get down to get that ball, and again, if he catches that cleanly, he probably keeps it to a single with Mesoraco running.
Leadoff man on for the Reds for the 3rd straight inning. In both the 4th and the 5th, leadoff man came around to score the 2 Cincinnati runs.
And Brandon Phillips, we already talked about the couple of really good at-bats he's had tonight. Kind of unusual splits for him, only 228 against left-handed pitching, 274 against righties, and that tells me that he may have a hard time staying on those changeups and two-seam fastballs, the way that you see so often from left-handed pitchers.
Up the middle. Moving to third is Mesoraco. One away.
A very nice play by Colton Wong, and not panicking. I'm sure for a second he thought about maybe making this throw to third base, but here's a nice little cutter that gets in on Brandon Phillips. Marco Gonzalez falls over himself, maybe trying to catch it, but a very nice backhand. Good execution on the exchange and throw from Colton Wong.
So with one away, Mesoraco now at third. Lefty against lefty matchup as Jay Bruce steps in.
And not an overshift, but a kind of unusual shift there from the Cardinals.
Bruce swings at the first pitch. This will score a run. Mesoraco comes home, sacrifice fly. RBI number 62 for Bruce. Cardinals lead is now 6-3.
You remember last night Jay Bruce had a big at-bat against Randy Choate and couldn't come through, couldn't get the ball in play, and he struck out on the 3-2 pitch from Choate. He has struggled against lefties, just 167 this year, but at least he gets a run on the board, gets the job done against the lefty Gonzalez.
And you talk about the importance, CJ, of the leadoff man reaching base. That's 3 straight innings for the Reds. Leadoff man with a base hit comes around to score in all 3 innings.
They've done a very good job of getting guys over and getting the hits when they need them. But actually just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight. What they haven't been able to do after having a leadoff hit is put the big inning together. And that obviously has been an issue for them the entire season as they've struggled to score runs.
First time in 6 games the Reds have scored more than 2.
I'm going to tell you how pitchers think a little bit here, Kenny. Now, first and foremost, St. Louis Cardinals need to win this game. They're trying to lock up this division, but inside of that, there's a win up for grabs. Because Michael Wacha only went 4 2/3, so he does not qualify to get the win. So somebody who pitched tonight coming out of that bullpen will find themselves with a W next to their name, of course, assuming that the Cardinals finish this off.
Ludwig pops it up. Molina, the first baseman, back into fair territory, makes the catch to retire Ludwig, but the Reds add another run. It's now 6-3. The Cardinals, Wong and Cruz with home runs. Cruz a 3-run shot in the second, Wong a 2-run shot in the third. 6-3 Cardinals. Bottom of the 6th inning. New battery for the Reds. Ryan Denick making his 7th appearance of the season. A September call-up. Left-hander who last pitched on Tuesday in Chicago. And now behind the plate for the Reds, it's Tucker Barnhart.
Well, Denick is an interesting guy, a 27-year-old rookie. First broke into baseball back in 2009, but this is his first taste of the major leagues. And a lot of bus rides. None of that stuff is exaggerated. A lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but sure, a nice moment for him when he got that call, and certainly, off to a rough start in his first couple of games here with the Reds, but he is in the big leagues. Going to give this guy credit for sticking it through. Not an easy thing after all those years in the minor leagues.
Denick out of Tennessee Tech. He was drafted by Kansas City back in 2009. And a pinch hitter for the Cardinals. It's Randal Grichuk. First pitch from Denick. Grichuk goes deep for the second straight night.
When you're pinch hitting, Kenny, that's one of the things a lot of great pinch hitters will tell you. They're going to look for a first pitch to jump on. They don't want to get deep into a count. They're not into the game. They're not in the rhythm. They want to see a first pitch fastball and jump all over it. 104 miles an hour off the bat for Grichuk. And Mike Matheny told us before the game when we asked him about guys that hit the ball hard, he mentioned, of course, his left fielder, Matt Holliday, but he also mentioned this guy as another one who squares the ball up and hits it really hard, and that's what we just saw right there.
And now on the second pitch from Denick, a base hit up the middle for Molina.
And this is what 102 miles an hour sounds like coming off the bat.
Wow.
You know that sound all too well, Kenny. It's the kind of sound that'll wake you up at night as a pitcher in a cold sweat. It's not a good feeling.
Grichuk hit 25 home runs for AAA Memphis this season. Pitch gets away from Barnhart. Molina to second. So a rough start for Ryan Denick.
Well, without a doubt, you come in. That's going to shake you a little bit. You're trying to get comfortable again. You're talking about a 27-year-old rookie. He is a rookie nonetheless on this big stage. And here comes a pinch hitter just jumping all over your first pitch and crushing it. That'll shake you a little bit. And, of course, Molina came in and got a base hit. And now it's Descalzo with an opportunity for a big breakout inning here for the Cardinals. Denick needs to relax, get back in the strike zone, stay confident. You cannot let those first couple of hits shake you from throwing strikes.
Denick has thrown 3 pitches. A home run, a single up the middle, and a wild pitch. Fourth pitch from Denick. Missing high and tight, ball 1.
This is a guy that averages about 90 miles an hour with his fastball. We saw a 92 right there. Uses his slider about 1/3 of the time. Sits around 81.
Off the glove of Barnhart, but this time Molina holds.
You can see Denick sweating, just trying to calm himself down. You just want to get that first out.
Descalzo down to first. First and second, still no outs. Non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2014 postseason beginning September 30th. There's Brian Price with the home plate umpire Tim Timmons. Pedro Villarreal in the Reds' pen. That will be all for Ryan Denick, who did not record it out. Grichuk sent the first pitch from Denick. 448 feet, his third of the season. Nine games prior to this series, 2 last night, 3 so far tonight.
Kenny, this team did not come as advertised, as we talked about earlier. Just 101 home runs coming into tonight. That was 15th in the National League. Only the Kansas City Royals were worse, but tonight swinging the bats, and really at the end of the day, that is all that matters for the St. Louis Cardinals, is that they get it going now. We've talked about Molina being back, and we've talked about Wainwright being back, and now they're swinging with some power. Matt Holliday has been in on that party as well, and all of a sudden this team's starting to look a little bit dangerous for the postseason.
Pedro Villarreal, the third Reds pitcher, facing Tony Cruz, who hit a 3-run homer back in the second inning. There's Chris Heisey in left, replacing Ludwig. Heisey will bat 9th. Villarreal in the number 7 spot of the order. First and second, nobody out. Bottom of the 6th inning. Cardinals with a 7-3 lead.
And for Villarreal, you're going to see fastball sits around 93. He's got a slider and a cutter as well, but mostly fastball cutter is what he features.
Mike Leake, the Red starter, went 5, replaced by Ryan Denick here in the 6th. Denick threw 6 pitches, did not record an out. Allowed a home run, a single up the middle, and a 4-pitch walk. And the home run hit by Grichuk, 448 feet. Wow. Longest home run here at Busch Stadium this season.
Wow.
2 feet longer than Matt Holliday back in July against the Dodgers.
That's incredible, and really kind of right on cue for us based on the conversation that we had with Mike Matheny. That is a dangerous thing to have on the bench, thinking about, again, the postseason, a guy with some power. Not a lot of teams have that. We see what a difference it can make for these National League teams. knows about the speed-up rules that we're trying to institute in Major League Baseball. This one's gone a little bit slow.
And Cruz is down on strikes. First out of the inning.
Well, if you're going to take your time, you better make it worth it. And for Villarreal, he certainly did here. Trying to go in, he misses over the plate, but he has enough of that fastball to get it by Tony Cruz. Villarreal threw an inning last night. He threw just 7 pitches in that inning. And for the season, as he has 2 inherited runners here, he's inherited 9 on the season. He's only pitched in 9 games, but he has not allowed any of those runners to score.
First and second, 1 out. Marco Gonzalez has 3 hits in 8 at-bats for the Cardinals this season. That's Mike Leake territory for Adam Wainwright.
Let's take a look at this swing. He looks comfortable. He looks like a hitter. That's half the battle for a lot of pitchers. We get in there and it's just not even pretty. For Gonzalez so far, it looks like he belongs. Not bad at all. 90-mile-an-hour cutter right there from Villarreal, but the swing looked pretty good from Gonzalez, but now quickly down 0-2. Got carved up right there with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Had a little bit cut. It may have been a cutter at 91. And well located. And Kenny, umpires will tell you differently, but when you're facing a pitcher, that strike zone just gets a tiny bit bigger. I don't think you're going to get that 0-2 call against a guy like John Jay. So Villarreal taking advantage of that situation. He's done a nice job so far. He's come in, he's inherited runners at first and second with nobody out, and he's recorded 2 strikeouts, first of Cruz and then of Gonzalez.
Now facing John Jay, who was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning. Jay 0 for 2. Remember, CJ, the Cardinals have scored 4 of their 7 runs tonight with 2 outs.
Well, maybe they're more comfortable with their backs against the wall. It certainly has been the case tonight. Maybe we'll see a little bit more 2-out action here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Three home runs in the game for St. Louis. Cruz in the second, a 3-run shot. Wong in the third, a 2-run homer. And Grichuk on the first pitch of this 6th inning from Ryan Denick.
When you see a right-hander with a really good cutter like Villarreal has, it can be very effective against lefties. That was always the case with Mariano Rivera. A lot of people made the mistake of thinking send up a left-handed pinch hitter. But when you have that cutter, just barrels in on your bat, and for it's been limited action for Villarreal. Lefties hitting just 154 against him this season. Number 21 there.
Came close.
This ball go between his legs.
Wow.
That's it's almost impossible to do, Kenny. You couldn't do that if you tried, that's for sure.
You ever try that?
No, I've thrown one behind a guy by accident before.
By accident?
I promise you, it was a changeup. I remember like it was yesterday. Ed Sprague was batting for the Toronto Blue Jays. Brad Osnos was my catcher. Called a changeup away. Sprague's a right-handed hitter. I threw it behind him, and Osmus caught it. Just shook his head and threw the ball back out to me. So you got to be kidding me with that. Never was mistaken for a guy with great command.
Hamilton in center. Cardinals add to their lead. Randall Grichuk goes deep for the second straight night. 7-3 St. Louis. Who have scored a run in each of the last 3 innings. 2 hits for Negron and Phillips. Zach Cozart leads off for Cincinnati against Marco Gonzalez. 7-3 Cardinals. Top of the 7th inning. We take you back to the last half inning. Villarreal came on in a tough spot. 2 on, nobody out. He retired 3 in a row.
He did a great job, Kenny. We think about the end of the season for a team like the Cincinnati Reds. People think, well, sometimes they're going to mail it in, but for a guy like Pedro Villarreal, this is an opportunity for him to earn a spot for next year. He does a nice job. First and second, nobody out. Very tough situation to come into.
Cozart fouls it off to the right side. Now 1-2. Pirates and Brewers are scoreless. Top of the 6th inning in Pittsburgh. The Cardinals have magic numbers in relation to both clubs. They have a 2.5 game lead in the division on the Pirates. Magic number to win the Central is 7. And they also have a magic number of 2 over the Brewers in relation to clinching a spot in the postseason. So a Cardinal win tonight and a Milwaukee loss, and the Cardinals would know that whether it's the division or a wild card, they would be playing in October.
Well, I'm pretty sure they are going to be playing in October, and I'm pretty sure they're going to win this division outside of a major collapse. But the Pittsburgh Pirates really have been the surprise team for me in the second half of the season. They have been playing incredibly well and doing it at times, not now but earlier, without their MVP, Andrew McCutchen.
Matt Garza, Brewers, started tonight, ejected in the 5th inning of that game in Pittsburgh.
I was wondering, I was looking at the box score, I saw he only went 4 2/3 innings. That's not what Ron Renneke wants to see. You are trying to hang in there. You're fighting for your playoff life. He's the top of the rotation guy. You need him to stay in the game.
He hit Andrew McCutchen twice and was ejected by Marty Foster, who earlier had warmed the benches. Cardinals 8 division titles since '96. Only the Yankees and Braves have more.
A storied franchise here in St. Louis, no doubt about it. They've done it for a long time, and they seem built to do it for a long time coming as well. A lot of good young players. They developed great pitching. We're seeing another good arm here in Marco Gonzalez to go along with guys like Michael Wacha and Shelby Miller. They flipped Joe Kelly, of course, to the Boston Red Sox to get John Lackey. A lot to work with here in St. Louis. They've done a very nice job developing those young arms, and now they're hoping Colton Wong and Oscar Taveras will be the guys that they've developed that can swing the bat a little bit.
To the Cozart, another foul. Game winner, Adam Wainwright. Tenth pitch of the at-bat to Cozart. Deep left field. Holiday looks up. It's gone. So Cozart wins the battle. A 10-pitch at-bat against Gonzalez. He goes deep for the 4th time this season, cutting the Cardinals' lead to 3.
Well, as much as we've talked about this Reds offense, they have been impressive. They're not going away. They keep battling back, and Cozart, a guy not having a particularly strong year. He has been good against lefties, though, this year. And you talked about a 10-pitch at-bat and finally getting something to work with, the fastball up over the plate. And he knew it as soon as he got it.
Now Chris Heisey batting for the first time tonight. So the leadoff man has scored now in 4 consecutive innings for Cincinnati. After the Reds had scored only 4 runs in their last 5 games combined. They have 4 tonight, but still trail by 3.
And really nice back-to-back changeups there by Marco Gonzalez to Chris Heisey.
Fourth home run allowed by Gonzalez this season as Heisey fouls it off. 0-2. Fastball called, strike 3. First strikeout for Gonzalez. 1 away here in the 7th. Check this out, CJ. Cardinals with a run differential this season of only +16. They are 18 games above the 500 mark, and those are the run differentials for the other division leaders in baseball.
Well, I think that what that tells you is we know about the offense, and we know that they have struggled, but they're good at winning close games. This team is built on pitching and good defense, and when you are that kind of team and you're not scoring a lot of runs, that's the kind of run differential you're going to turn out. Just a matter if you're winning those games, that keeps you in contention.
Billy Hamilton 0 for 3. Cardinals have kept Hamilton off the base paths tonight. 56 steals on the season, now facing number 56, Gonzalez.
For Billy Hamilton, there aren't significant splits for him. You know, it's a switch hitter when he's batting left-handed or batting righty. When he's righty, 268, left-handed, 252. Not a big spread that it makes you think, should he not be batting one way or another.
Nice play by Descalso. Fires across for out number 2. With 2 away, here is Negron, who has doubled twice, drove in a run back in the 5th. As we mentioned, only 4 runs for the Reds their previous 5 games. They lost all 5. 4 runs here tonight, but they fell behind early 5-0. On the ground to the second baseman, Juan. Off the glove of Molina, who is making his first start at first base this season for the Cardinals.
And this error really should probably go to Colton Wong for me.
It does.
He did a good job of getting around this ball, and he had plenty of time. You see how his weight is still going toward the left field line. So basically now as he's making that throw, he's actually counteracting that momentum going to left, and he's trying to get it to go the other way. It's going to cause some inaccuracies on throws. And that's exactly what we saw from Colton Wong.
Wong takes a deep breath as he heads in towards the mound. So that will be all for Gonzalez. Zach Cozart took him deep, leading off the top of the seventh. His career with the Reds, taking in the action here tonight with St. Louis out on top 7-4. Fourth pitcher of the night for the Cardinals, making his 65th appearance, is the 25-year-old right-hander Seth Maness, who earned the save last night, his third of the season. This inning kept alive by the throwing error committed by Wong. So Negron on at first, and Todd Frazier at the plate. Frazier 1 for 3 tonight.
Well, Maness is a guy you're going to see a lot of fastballs from. Nearly 7 out of every 10 pitches that he throws is going to be a fastball. Has a really good two-seamer, good sinker. Generates a lot of ground balls with that pitch.
Frazier fouls it off to the right side. 0-2.
Interesting note for Maness as he inherits a runner here with the runner on first. 59 inherited runners for him. That is the most in the National League. And so for Mike Matheny, this is a guy that he feels comfortable bringing in when there is trouble, trying to get him to finish an inning, which is exactly what he's asking him to do right now. He's third in Major League Baseball in ground ball double plays induced. And again, that goes to that sinker again. You love having a guy like this in your bullpen. Now, it can be taxing for them mentally because they're coming in trouble more often than not. Not trouble that they created, but they're asked to basically put out a fire 7th, 8th inning, and it's so valuable when you can have that ground ball guy.
Holden needs to record one out here. And he does. Frazier down on strikes. 7th inning stretch time in St. Louis. 6-4 lead. They are still scoreless. Brewers and the Pirates. Kenny Albert with C.J. Nitkowski. Home runs. The story for the Cardinals tonight, accounting for 6 of the 7 St. Louis runs.
Well, some welcome power for the St. Louis Cardinals, as we've been talking about most of the night. Something they have not done well, but what they've done in the regular season does not matter. If they can get those bats going right now, they can get Michael Wacha and the rest of that pitching staff going. All of a sudden, this becomes a team. Keep an eye on the postseason. Could go a lot farther than maybe we expected a week ago.
Wacha, the starter, went 4 2/3 in his third start back for the disabled list. One of CJ's former teammates, it's Jumbo Diaz, fourth pitcher of the night for the Reds. Given name is Jose Rafael Diaz.
That's not nearly as much fun as saying Jumbo, though. And Diaz, a guy that I played with in the Dominican Republic, actually last January of 2013, picked up by the Toros del Este in the Dominican Winter League for the postseason and got to play with him. And just a super nice guy, but very excited for him to get this opportunity. He'd been waiting a long time to now get a regular chance in a bullpen in the big leagues. It's good to see for Jumbo Diaz.
33rd appearance of the season, facing Colton Wong leading off for the Cardinals. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Wong took Mike Leake deep back in the third, a 2-run shot. His 12th of the year. Cardinals led 5-0 through 3. Reds have scored a run in each of the last 4 innings to chip away.
We talked about Ryan Denick earlier being a 27-year-old rookie. Jumbo Diaz, a 30-year-old rookie. You just love his story, and again, of the perseverance of guys that hang in there are so difficult, and you wait for your opportunity. And for him now, he's been really taking advantage of it.
Wong with a base hit into right field. So Colton Wong has reached base 4 times tonight. A home run, 2 singles, and a walk.
It's been a great night for Colton Wong, and he is right in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Right now, for me, though, it's probably going to be Jacob deGrom, who's been good. You don't see the high win total, but he has really thrown the ball extremely well. Billy Hamilton, of course, in that conversation as well. The sub-300 on-base percentage, though, makes it a little bit tough for me to give Billy Hamilton the nod, but we're seeing a nice crop of rookies this year.
So Wong on at first. Here's Matt Holliday. Singled his last time up. Holliday 1 for 3. Seven 4 Cardinals. Bottom of the 7th inning. Magic number is 2 to clinch a spot on the postseason. Magic number is 7 to win the division. Pirates and Brewers scoreless. Top of the 7th in Pittsburgh.
Well, it was a really nice looking slider from Jumbo Diaz, as we get to see it here. After that fastball up and in, that sets up that pitch, and Matt Holliday could not lay off even in a 1-0 count. See 96 miles an hour on that last pitch from Diaz. He averages right around there. He will touch 100 once in a while. That's been his max velocity on the season. But his 4-seam fastball averaging just under 97 miles an hour this year. Which is hard to believe that he has not gotten to the big leagues until now with that kind of arm.
Spent 5 years in the Dodgers organization. Also spent some time in the minor leagues with Texas, Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
See 98 there. He did not get to AAA until he was 27 years old. But again, I think early on, you look back at his numbers, there were some command issues. He was still striking guys out at the lower levels, but could never quite get over that command. 12 seasons that he spent in the minor leagues.
And he says he ended last season at 347 pounds. By spring training, he lost approximately 70 pounds, which is why he wears uniform number 70.
I didn't know that. That's great. Like I said, this is a really great guy, a fun guy really enjoyed the brief time that I got to play with him. I always tell the story that his mother would make empanadas in the Dominican Republic, and he would bring them in, and he would actually sell them in the clubhouse, and they would go unbelievably quick. They were delicious, but that's how maybe you get to be 360 pounds. But good for him for taking care of himself. And again, like I said, getting back here, just a great story.
We can use a couple now here in the booth.
Right here, I feel you, man. I'm starving.
Fair ball. Negron, long throw across. Holiday is retired. Wong to second.
Very nice throw right there by Negron, but really what I like there was the at-bat for Diaz. Matt Holliday's been swinging the bat very well, but the way that he handled him, and he really set the tone with the first pitch fastball in, then he gets the bad swing on the slider. The ball is fielded right on the line. A lot of guys will short hop that throw. They kind of get lazy and they prefer to throw the ball in the grass and let it hop right to the first baseman, but good job by Negron throwing that ball all the way through his first baseman.
With one away, Johnny Peralta. Peralta 1 for 3 tonight. Cardinals with a 7-4 lead, looking to win their 4th straight, 7th in the last 8. Tomorrow night, the final home game of the regular season for St. Louis. They'll conclude with a 6-game road trip, 3 at Wrigley, and then 3 out in Arizona.
For Diaz, now we see him going up and in again, and he is not scared to throw inside. And when you have that kind of fastball, you love to see that. Now, I don't know if he's intentionally throwing a ball there, but sometimes you'll get guys that you see throwing inside and kind of being a little tentative. That is absolutely not the case with Diaz. That is such a nice combination after seeing that fastball in. And for Diaz, we keep talking about how hard he does throw. His average fastball velocity for all relievers with at least 30 innings, which is what he has, is 3rd in Major League Baseball. Only Aroldis Chapman and Kelvin Herrera have a higher average fastball velocity than Jumbo Diaz.
Now 2-2 on Peralta. Two from Diaz, missing high, count is full.
We talked about the command being an issue for him in the minor leagues, and really for this entire Cincinnati Reds bullpen, that is a struggle. A lot of guys that come out averaging at least 3.5 or more walks per 9 innings, and Diaz is right in there with that group. 3.9 walks per 9 innings, a very high number. You like to see relievers in the low 2s.
A shot to the third baseman, Negron. They have one caught in a rundown. So the Reds get the lead runner, second out of the inning. Peralta on at first. This October, history will be made as baseball's postseason moves to America's new sports network. Fox Sports 1 is your new home for the National League Division and Championship Series. It all begins October 3rd. 2 away as Randall Grichuk steps in for the Cardinals. Grichuk led off the 6th inning, and he took Ryan Denick deep on the first pitch. So Grichuk with home runs back-to-back nights. Back in 2009, CJ, the Angels had back-to-back selections in the first round, both compensatory picks after they lost Frankie Rodriguez to the Mets and Mark Teixeira to the Yankees. So they had the 24th and 25th picks in the first round. They chose, with the 24th overall pick, Randall Grichuk, and with the 25th overall pick, Mike Trout. Whew.
It's a nice draft right there for the Angels. And late in the first round to be able to get these kind of guys. Now, obviously, Mike Trout now the best player in Major League Baseball for me and really has been for the past couple of years. And what we've seen from Grichuk so far is a guy that we think will stick. We talked about the good power. And what we're just talking about with Diaz with the fastball and the respect that he is giving this young bat. He hasn't thrown him a fastball yet. It's been 3 sliders so far because he knows he has the bat speed to catch up to that 97, 98 mile an hour fastball.
Grichuk acquired by the Cardinals in November with Peter Borges in exchange for David Freese and Fernando Salas. Speaking of compensatory picks, Cardinals chose Michael Wacha with a compensatory pick following the loss of Albert Pujols.
It was a great draft. I think it was 19th overall, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going on memory on that one, but that was a great pick for the St. Louis Cardinals. And another guy who went in that draft 4th overall was Kevin Gausman. And those guys for me, Wacha and Kevin Gausman of the Baltimore Orioles, very similar. Good fastballs, good changeups, guys that are working on their breaking ball, but both got to the big leagues very quickly. Start to wonder when you see how well Diaz is throwing if this can last for a while for him. You know, it's his first taste in the big leagues, but you see plus stuff, great slider, great fastball. Like to see the command just a little bit better, but still he can survive with where he is right now. This could be a difference maker in this bullpen next year. The middle relief has been an issue for the Reds.
Peralta goes, and the throw gets away from Phillips.
Well, that's a tough break right there for the Cincinnati Reds because it appeared that the throw from Todd Frazier may have hit Peralta as he kind of flinched, and you see it catch him on the left shoulder tricep area. And that's a tough throw. When you get that kind of pick off and a guy takes off, what a first baseman is supposed to do, which I don't think we saw from Todd Frazier, is to actually step toward the pitcher. Once the runner takes off, you take a couple of steps toward the pitcher, and what that does, it creates a lane for that throw so that you're not trying to throw through the runner like we just saw right there.
One two to Grichuk. It is a foul ball. Fortunately for the Reds.
Oh my! And you wonder if DeGrom heard third base umpire Ed Hickok's call that foul or not, because he certainly seemed like he was playing it like it was fair, like you're supposed to do. That could have been a disaster for the Reds. There's a chopper hit here. DeGrom comes over and he's got to play it, and as he catches it, maybe he hears that right there. I don't know though. Saved by the foul ground ball.
A 1-2. Pop to shallow right.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and it's off the glove of Bruce. Peralta scores. It's now 8-4 Cardinals.
And this is a tough play, but one that I think that we expect Brandon Phillips to make because he has spoiled us with his really good defense. But on this pop-up, you could see this thing just kind of developing slowly. As he went out there, the looks were lacking confidence, and you see him try to leap back. And Jay Bruce, it's going to be very dangerous. We see a lot of collisions here at times, but I don't know if this was just a lack of communication. We saw a very similar play earlier this season with the Cincinnati Reds when they were playing the New York Yankees, where there was some miscommunication in that same area, a very similar area. But nevertheless, that probably is going to go down as a base hit, I would assume, and maybe a double. Grichuk, what a way to get a double. Have a night.
A double and another RBI for Grichuk.
The downside there for Jumbo Diaz is it's an earned run. You got to pop up, but the defense was unable to turn it into an out, and now he's still in trouble here with a runner on second base and 2 outs.
Ball 2 to Molina. Cardinals have scored a run in 5 of the 7 innings so far tonight. They now lead 8-4. Ball 3. But check that. Strike called on the outside corner.
And maybe a gift.
2-1, yeah.
I think you might have had it right, Kenny. 95-mile-an-hour fastball looked like it was just off of the plate. But Diaz will take that against tough hitting Yadier Molina.
Yeah, look, tying outside. So a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Grichuk takes his lead off second. 2-2.
That's supposed to be a hitter's count, and Molina is supposed to be the guy that has the advantage in that situation, but he almost looked like he was swinging behind in the count as Diaz blew that ball right past him.
Pitch gets away from Barnhart. Moving to third is Grichuk. Well, we take you back to that play you just mentioned, CJ, following the All-Star break at Yankee Stadium.
And that was just mass communication, and Brandon Phillips was not playing second base. It was Shoemaker at the time, but Frazier at first base. Jay Bruce in right field, very similar, and those are tough to swallow, and when you're having a rough year, they just feel so much worse.
Molina down on strikes. And that will finally end the inning for Jumbo Diaz and the Reds. Cardinals add to their lead. Game summary. Red starter Mike Leake allowed 2 home runs in 5 innings. A couple of base hits for Brandon Phillips. Michael Wacha, third start back from the DL, 4 2/3. Colton Wong has reached base 4 times as one of the 3 St. Louis home runs tonight.
And I think for Michael Wacha, that was really the guy to keep an eye on. You saw only the 4 2/3, but the swings and misses a little bit of an issue for me. He was better than he was in his last start, but he's still not quite all the way back. The off-speed stuff was kind of hit and miss for me. At times we saw some good curveballs, some that weren't so great. Same thing on the changeup, but certainly a big step forward to where the St. Louis Cardinals would like to see him before they head to the postseason.
27-year-old left-hander Sam Freeman makes his 40th appearance for the Cardinals. Tucker Barnhart batting for the first time tonight. In 17 games, 8 hits in 44 at-bats for Barnhart. Reds' 10th round pick back in 2009. Colton Wong, 1 out. Here's Brandon Phillips, has 2 hits tonight, drove in a run back in the 4th inning. The first Cincinnati run. Prior to that run-scoring single, the Reds had scored only 2 runs in the prior 38 innings. And they've now scored a run in each of the last 4.
Well, the good news is obviously that they're scoring more runs. The bad news is that they're down by 4. And they hang in there and they've been battling, but it's just been a really rough go of it for this club. Talked about it a lot, their inability to score runs in the second half. Been a real struggle.
Brewers and Pirates still scoreless now in the 8th in Pittsburgh. The 0-1 from Freeman, 1-1.
Freeman, a guy who mostly fastball changeup, which really explains his splits. Lefties are hitting 288 off him, but it's righties that are only hitting 200. Significantly better against right-handers this year.
The Reds, CJ, could play a large part in how this NL Central finishes up. Following tomorrow night's game, they will go home for 6, 3 with the Brewers and then 3 with the Pirates.
Oh my, that could be pretty good at that point in the season. The Pirates still hanging around, thinking about this division and playing very good baseball. I think they're the team the Cardinals really have to be worried about.
They've won 12 of their last 14. Scoreless tonight. Phillips grounds out to the shortstop Peralta for out number 2. Here's Jay Bruce, 0 for 2, sacrifice fly back in the 6th. Freeman has thrown 6 pitches. He has retired both Reds he has faced, which leads us to the question, which Cardinals pitcher, assuming they hang on and win the game, who will be credited with the victory?
Well, you know, I find this very fascinating. We'll see. It's scorer's discretion is how it works, and I always agree with the scorer's discretion, but it could be somebody as simple as Manis, who came in and put out a fire and got the strikeout, even though he only faced 1 hitter. But if Freeman throws a clean inning right here, certainly he would be a guy that would get strong consideration. What I would just hate to see, and it's not a save situation right now, but if it were a save situation, we've seen this happen to Mariano Rivera one other time, where a guy comes in and actually gets a save. Let him have the save and give the win to somebody else.
The 0-2 from Freeman. Gary Mueller is the official scorer tonight.
Right.
So it's in Gary's hands. Michael Wacha, the Cardinals starter, went 4 2/3. Then it was Jason Mott for a third of an inning, Gonzalez for an inning and 2/3. Manis struck out the only man he faced. And now it is Freeman pitching the 8th.
And Jay Bruce had a really interesting at-bat last night. He came in, or Randy Choate came in to face him, and he's got terrible numbers against Choate. You and I asked Brian Price, why would he allow him to face Choate in that situation, but he felt like it was a confidence issue. Wanted to leave his star, Jay Bruce, out there. Even though he's been having a rough year, there's something to be said for that, and I think a guy like Jay Bruce appreciates that. Now, maybe if they were in contention, maybe that would have been different, but he went ahead and let him hit with an opportunity to tie the game up, even though he had horrible numbers against Randy Choate. Randy Choate ultimately struck him out. I think it says a lot about Brian Price and making sure that he keeps the respect of his players during this tough season.
Price insinuating that it could do more long-term damage if you pinch hit for one of your core players in that spot.
Absolutely.
Molina with the flip to Freeman, who pitches a 1-2-3-8 on 12 pitches. King play of the day is brought to you by Burger King. Bottom of the 6th inning. 448 feet off the bat of Randall Grichuk. Longest home run here at Busch Stadium this season.
And it was an impressive one. Not only the distance, but the fact that he came off the bench and jumped on the very first pitch that he saw.
Aroldis Chapman out of the Reds pen here at the bottom of the 8th inning. And a new right fielder for Cincinnati. It is Yorman Rodriguez.
If you're wondering why Aroldis Chapman is in this game right now, down by 4, he has not pitched in 9 days. September 11th was his last outing. Now, he did pitch 3 days in a row. He pitched the 9th, 10th, and 11th and recorded saves on each of those days. There just has not been an opportunity for him. So now he gets in this game just to get some work and to try to stay sharp.
Chapman will face Daniel Descalso, who has walked twice tonight. First pitch from Chapman. Right center. And it's Rodriguez, who just entered the game, who makes the catch. We're out number 1. Well, college football on Fox continues next with a West Coast showdown. San Diego State and Oregon State. Coverage continues next only on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. One away. Here's Tony Cruz, who got things started for the Cardinals back in the 2nd inning with a 3-run home run. And as you alluded to at the time, Cruz most likely would not have been in the starting lineup tonight if not for the illnesses. Matt Carpenter and Matt Adams both under the weather. So with Adams out, Molina started at first base, Cruz behind the plate. And in the 2nd inning, he hits his first home run of the season.
You love seeing a guy take an opportunity like that for Tony Cruz again, because as the postseason roster starts to take shape, you know, Mike Matheny has a decision to make between A.J. Pierzynski or Tony Cruz, who he wants to be his backup. Pierzynski certainly has the postseason experience, but you got to think Cruz may be the guy he's leaning towards if he's going to get that start tonight. Aroldis Chapman's just a guy that you can have a ton of fun with. When you look at his numbers, we talked about Diaz being the 3rd hardest thrower of any reliever. Well, of course, Aroldis Chapman is the big dog. His fastball averages 100 miles an hour.
96 there from Chapman, now 3-1 on Cruz.
But my favorite number for Chapman is that he strikes out 52% of the batters that he faces. And obviously better than every other batter that he faces, he's striking out. It's phenomenal.
He walks Cruz, so the Cardinals have a 1-out base runner in the bottom of the 8th. And will now send up a pinch hitter for Sam Freeman. It is Xavier Scruggs. Scruggs, 2 hits in 8 at-bats this season for the Cardinals. Comes to the plate with 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning. Cruz the runner on first. St. Louis out on top 8-4.
It's a lot of fun right here to come in as a young man.
Wow.
26 years old, limited big league experience, first time in the big leagues, and you're going to get a pinch hit tonight. Get Aroldis Chapman, go get him.
Scruggs out of UNLV, 19th round pick in 2008. 1-1. .21 home runs for AAA Memphis this season for Scruggs. Nice block by Barnhart. He was the Cardinals minor league player of the month for August. He's hit at least 20 home runs in 5 consecutive seasons in the minor leagues.
He was a power guy that they had brought up. Matt Adams was struggling a little bit and wondering if he was going to get some playing time. That hadn't really happened. Chapman right now seems like he's almost playing with him. 3 sliders so far. He hasn't even seen a fastball yet. There's one.
How tough is it for a guy like Chapman in a non-safe situation?
It's terrible. Guys just don't like it. I mean, especially a guy like him who was such an elite level closer. It's just not a lot of fun. And with the season obviously not going well, you're just getting work in, trying to stay sharp. And not that it's, I don't want to say it's inexcusable, but it's understandable when a guy like this will lose a little bit of focus in these kinds of situations.
Fouled off back behind first, so the count is full.
Elite level closers, they love the limelight. That's what they want. They want the big situation. They want to be closing out a game. They want the crowd into it. And it can be difficult for them to pitch and be successful in situations where that's not happening.
Peter Borges has come out into the on-deck circle to pinch hit for John Jay. Payoff pitch to Scruggs. Strike three. Throw to second. And Cruz is tagged out.
Nobody happier than that than Peter Borges.
That's right. Strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the eighth. San Diego State and Oregon State. Coverage continues next only on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Kenny Albert, CJ Nitkowski here in St. Louis. We head to the ninth. Cardinals lead by 4. Carlos Martinez, the 6th St. Louis pitcher of the night. In less than 3 hours, Martinez will turn 23 years of age.
It's amazing to think how young he is, as much as we've seen him so far.
Nice play at first by Molina, tagging out Yorman Rodriguez, who swung at the first pitch from Martinez. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball, presents the walk-off. Great walk-offs are waiting at foxsports.com/Budweiser. Grab some buds.
You and I were talking to Mike Matheny, asked him before the game about the effect that Yadier Molina has had on this pitching staff, and maybe nobody more so than Carlos Martinez, who has not allowed a run since Yadi has been back. 9 games, 10 2/3 innings with 12 strikeouts. He has been a completely different guy since Molina's been back.
Nothing in 2 on Cozart, who homered his last time up. On 3 pitches, Martinez strikes out Cozart, and now the Reds down to their final out.
This is that nasty slider that we remember seeing last year in the postseason. from Carlos Martinez, little Pedro they call him, and that's a good one right there. And even though Tony Cruz behind the plate catching, you just got to feel like he is a different guy with a little bit more confidence after having Molina back, getting him back on track.
A combined 11 pitchers have been used tonight, 12 runs, 18 hits. Ben Bowman crunching the numbers for us up in the broadcast booth as Heisey takes strike one. Nothing in two.
Wow, 99 miles an hour. And like I said, Carlos Martinez, I think, feeling a lot better. Slider looks good and maybe a little bit overamped on that fastball.
They are still scoreless in Pittsburgh. Pirates and Brewers, bottom of the eighth. The 1-2 to Chris Heisey. The Cardinals looking to reduce their magic number, both for the division and for a spot in the postseason. Magic number 7 to win the division, 2 to clinch the playoff berth. Martinez, the 6th Cardinals pitcher of the night. St. Louis with 3 home runs, accounting for 6 of their 8 runs. Heisey strikes out. Magic number to clinch a spot in the postseason is down to 1. The Cardinals with their 4th straight, their 7th in 8 on this homestand. Reds lose their 6th in a row. For C.J. Nitkowski, this is Kenny Albert saying so long. Now to Rob Stone in Los Angeles for College Football Extra.